In the quiet spaces between memory and mystery, some questions linger like shadows. They refuse to fade, even decades after the last footsteps echo down a dark hallway. They speak of lives cut short, of power and peril, of truths buried deep beneath layers of time and suspicion. What happens when the light of justice dims? When the answers slip through the cracks of investigation? We stand on the threshold of one such question. A name known across a nation, a voice silenced in the quiet of his own home.
Every mystery has a story, but not every story has an answer. Every week, we uncover the chilling cases that have haunted investigators for years. Unsolved disappearances, cold cases, and the darkest secrets waiting to be discovered. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Join us, if you dare. The Unsolved Chronicle.
The facts are stark, the timeline precise. Yet, the why remains elusive. The who, a ghost in the machine. This isn't just a story of crime. It's a story of a nation's heartbeat, the fragility of peace, and the enduring weight of the unknown. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, perhaps. But they demand to be remembered. To be felt. To be understood, in the quiet spaces where truth hides. Let us step back. Into the humid air of Ibadan, December 2001. Into the life of a man who spoke truth to power. And into the chilling silence that followed. Chief James Ige, known universally as Bola Ige, was more than a politician. He was a titan of Nigerian democracy, a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, a former governor of Oyo State, and a towering figure in the Alliance for Democracy, AD, later the Action Congress. His voice, sharp and often critical, resonated in the halls of power and in the hearts of those who valued integrity. He was 71 years old, serving as the nation's Minister of Justice and Attorney General, a position he held with characteristic candor. On Tuesday, December 10, 2001, Bola Ige spent his day as he often did. He attended meetings at his ministerial office in Abuja. He returned to his private residence at number 17, Tigris Street, Maitama, Abuja. Around 6:30 p.m., he shared a meal with his wife, Adinuk, known as Tinu. He then settled into his study to work, preparing for the demands of the next day. His movements were routine, unremarkable to anyone observing from the outside. He spoke on the phone with associates, discussed matters of state, and planned for the future. There was no overt sign of threat, no immediate prelude to violence. The details of his final hours emerged through fragmented accounts. Sometime between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., intruders entered the Maitama residence. They bypassed the security guards. Accounts vary on whether they were overpowered, bribed, or simply absent at the crucial moment. They moved through the house with chilling purpose. They didn't take valuables. They didn't ransack rooms. They went straight to the study. Tinu Ige was in another part of the house. She heard a commotion. Gunshots. Multiple reports. She rushed to the study. What she found defies easy description. Her husband, Bola Ige, lay on the floor. Shot. Mortally wounded. The intruders were gone. Vanished into the night, leaving only the echo of violence and the profound shock of a widow. She raised the alarm. Neighbors, security, police, they arrived quickly. But the damage was done. Bola Ige was declared dead on arrival at the hospital. The time was approximately 10 p.m. The reaction was immediate and visceral. Nigeria, a nation grappling with its own complex political tensions and history of political violence, was stunned. The murder of the sitting Attorney General, a vocal critic of corruption and a respected elder statesman, sent shockwaves through the political establishment and the public. The media descended on Maitama. Speculation ran rampant. Was it political? Personal? Contract killing? The president, Olusegun Obasanjo, condemned the act as barbaric and vowed to bring the perpetrators to justice. The Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, launched a massive manhunt. The crime scene was processed, forensics collected, but crucial evidence, it seemed, had already slipped away. The investigation unfolded under intense scrutiny. Over 200 suspects were initially questioned. Names surfaced: politicians, business associates, disgruntled elements. But solid evidence remained elusive. Key witnesses were scarce or unreliable. Forensic analysis, while conducted, yielded little that pointed definitively to a specific individual or group. The timeline of the intruder's entry and exit remained fuzzy. The motive remained the central, unanswered question. Was it a contract killing ordered by political rivals angered by Ige's anti-corruption stance? Was it retaliation from a specific case he was handling? Or was it something more personal, stemming from a long-standing feud? The months turned into years. High-profile arrests were made, notably, a former police chief, AIG Christopher Mama, and a former governor of Anambra State, Chris Yuba, but trials collapsed due to lack of evidence. Mama was eventually acquitted. Yuba's case fizzled out. Other suspects faced similar fates. The trail grew colder. The official investigation stalled, leaving the nation with a gaping wound and a family with enduring grief. The murder of Bola Ige became one of Nigeria's most enduring and perplexing unsolved crimes, a symbol of the fragility of security and the persistence of impunity. Theories and oddities. Theory 1, the political assassination. The most prominent theory, and the one that initially gripped the nation, posits that Bola Ige was assassinated for his political beliefs and actions. As Attorney General, he was a key figure in the Obasanjo administration, known for his blunt criticism of corruption and his efforts to reform the judiciary. He had made powerful enemies. Some investigators believe the murder was a politically motivated contract killing, ordered by individuals within or outside the government who felt threatened by his integrity or his specific investigations. The timing, just after he had reportedly intensified efforts against high-level corruption, lends weight to this theory. The precision of the attack, entering a secured minister's residence, targeting him specifically in his study, and escaping without taking valuables, suggests a planned operation, not a random robbery. The lack of forensic evidence linking to a specific political faction is a major contradiction, however. The sheer number of potential political rivals makes narrowing down the field nearly impossible without concrete proof. The failure of trials against figures like Mama and Yuba, despite initial high hopes, underscores the difficulty in proving this theory beyond reasonable doubt. Yet, the political climate of the era, rife with tension and accusations, makes this explanation feel tragically plausible to many. The oddity lies in the audacity, killing the nation's top law enforcement official, and the apparent impunity with which it was carried out. Theory 2, the person's score settled. Another line of inquiry explores a more personal motive. Bola Ige, despite his public stature, had a long and sometimes contentious career. He had made enemies in legal circles, in business, and even within his own political party over the years. This theory suggests the murder was not a grand political statement, but a targeted assassination stemming from a specific, deep-seated personal grievance. Perhaps it was related to a high-profile legal case he had handled, where a powerful individual felt wronged. Or maybe it was rooted in a long-standing feud within the complex web of Nigerian politics or business that predated his ministerial role. The theory points to the possibility of a contract killing ordered by a private individual, not necessarily a political group. The lack of robbery or overt signs of a break-in could support this, suggesting the perpetrators knew exactly where to go and what to do. The challenge here is the sheer difficulty of identifying such a specific personal motive decades later. Personal feuds are often hidden, and without a clear person of interest emerging from the shadows, this theory remains speculative. The oddity is the lack of any obvious public manifestation of such a deep-seated personal vendetta against a man as prominent as Ige. Why choose such a high-risk method for a potentially private score? The silence surrounding this potential motive is as baffling as the crime itself. Theory 3, the inside job/security failure. This theory focuses less on a grand external conspiracy and more on the potential breakdown of security itself. It suggests the murder might have been facilitated by someone inside the security apparatus protecting the minister. This could range from a guard compromised by money or intimidation, to a more sophisticated infiltration of the security detail. The theory posits that the intruders had specific knowledge of the layout, routines, and potentially the weaknesses in the security system, knowledge that might not be readily available to outsiders. The ease with which they entered, bypassed security, accessed the study, and escaped without being caught or leaving clear forensic traces points to an unsettling level of access and planning. This has led speculation that the killers had help from within. The contradiction lies in the lack of any concrete evidence implicating specific security personnel. Investigations into the guards on duty at the time reportedly yielded little. Furthermore, the sheer number of people with access to such information, family, staff, other officials, makes pinpointing an inside source incredibly difficult without a smoking gun. The oddity here is the nature of the security breach itself. For a high-profile minister in a volatile nation, the security protocols should have been robust. The fact that they were so thoroughly breached, and that the breach remained so obscured, points to a possibility deeply unsettling, that the protection system itself was compromised, making the minister vulnerable in his own sanctuary. This theory doesn't provide a clear who, but it highlights a profound and unsettling vulnerability in the system meant to protect him. Case status plus call to action. Decades have passed since that December night in Maitama. The official investigation into the murder of Bola Ige remains officially open, classified as a cold case by Nigerian authorities. Yet, progress has been glacial. Forensic techniques have advanced, potentially offering new avenues to re-examine evidence. Digitization of old files might uncover overlooked details. Podcasts and documentaries, like this one, periodically renew public interest and scrutiny. However, no definitive breakthrough has occurred. The silence persists. The family of Chief Bola Ige continues to live with the loss and the absence of closure. This case, like many unsolved mysteries, thrives in the gaps, the missing witness, the untested lead, the theory that feels just beyond reach. It serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of unresolved crime and the enduring fragility of justice. What detail lingers in your mind? The audacity of the attack? The precision of the getaway? The lack of a clear political motive? Or perhaps the unsettling possibility of an inside job? Which of the theories presented feels closest to the truth, or do you have another perspective? Share your respectful thoughts below. Sometimes, the coldest cases thaw with fresh eyes, with a new perspective, or with someone holding a piece of the puzzle we haven't seen yet. In memory of Chief James Ajayi Bola Ige, not just a headline, but a life dedicated to law, justice, and the service of his nation. A voice silenced, a legacy remembered, a question that remains, demanding its answer.